Good evening. 3 points to go. 3 points to go. We can do it. Are we going to do it, Andy?
Yes, without a doubt. On Monday night.
Yeah, I think so. Buzzing. So last night was awesome. In a week, well, it was awesome. It was also stressful for about half an hour in the second half. That really stressed me out. If anyone who was following my live tweeting on Twitter, I was not calm.
As someone who is the recipient of your WhatsApp messages, there was definitely a turning point because I was at work last night, so I couldn't watch the game. But there was a point in your messages where it was like, "Oh, we're battering them," and then it went to, "Oh God, it's awful."
Yeah, it was good. And then obviously, I just wish we'd scored the third goal a little bit earlier than the 90th minute, but it came and it was a great performance. We'll get into it in a minute. We've got Blakey here, evening Blakey, and so logicy. Lovely evening, nice to have you here. Morgul, evening, familiar face. How's your dad healing up? He's doing all right. He's not with us tonight because he's at a concert, isn't he?
He's out on the tune.
Yeah. So sort of, yeah. But he's
doing what men of his age do for their birthdays. They go and watch ex-members of Status Quo.
Yeah,
that's what he's doing. So,
yeah, he managed to get his ticket swapped for I don't know,
disability pass.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
A blue
still
badge.
Still got a big boot on. So, but he's all right. He's doing all right. He is. Evening, Anthony. Amazing atmosphere last night. Yeah, I was obviously watching on TV. I wasn't there. I was kind of hoping to be there, but I couldn't make it in the end for various reasons, which I won't bore you with. But yeah, the atmosphere certainly came across on the telly, and especially in the end. I mean, I think I said it in my video that I put out last night or this morning. If you listen to the TV broadcast of Bruno's goal in particular going in, and Wilson's third goal, like, that sounded loud on the telly, so you know that must have been insane.
Yeah, it looked it was. You could see it even in the pictures as well. I mean, normally when a fourth goal goes in the 93rd minute, everyone's like, "Yeah, go on." So everyone went mental. Yeah. It went mental. Yeah, it was like it was a cup-winning goal. But
I think it was just a relief that when Wilson scored, like that third one, because obviously the game was the basic story of the game was the first half we were insanely good. Like we just completely hammered them. 2-0 was the absolute least we deserved to go in up at half time. It could have been 3 or 4, probably should have been. Their keeper made a couple of really good saves. And then in the second half, predictably, Brighton got a little bit better, but not loads better. We were still sort of in control. And then we could and should have gone 3-0 up. Like Miggy, we'll come on to him later, should have scored to make it 3-0. And then 45 seconds later, it was 2-1. And then the nerves set in, you know. That was that. And then it was like half an hour where we were all right, but like Brighton had a lot of possession. But when you're watching something live, that lots of possession feels like, oh no, we're going to concede. If you look at it back at the replay of the game, knowing the result, you would probably look and think, well, actually, Brighton never really threatened us all that much after they scored that goal. They didn't really have that many chances. And then eventually, obviously, got to the 89th minute or whatever it was, and Wilson just scored a beauty. Great work from Trippier.
I've got your WhatsApp messages with Dad from that period of the game, and it's very, very funny because it does like it goes, get in, big Dan Burn, fire emoji, class, we've battered them. And now it just like terrible defending, should have been 3 up, typical, we battered them, we're hanging on, we're going to blow this, oh, this is awful. Yeah, Willock's on his hamstring, oh God, it's going to be a long 30 minutes. It just goes on and on and on. And then there's a gap, and then it's like, oh, it's 4-1.
Yeah. Well, the thing is with the third and fourth goals, like the third goal went in. I didn't really celebrate the third goal because I genuinely just thought it was miles offside.
Yeah, your text was, I was like, is that a goal?
He's offside. Like, he's put it in the net, and I was like, I'm just waiting for VAR to cancel this. And then by the time that had all happened and checked, we were literally breaking again and scored the fourth. So like, it was just mad. It was just absolutely, that was brilliant. I love that. Yeah, the messages are quite funny. If you look at my Twitter feed from last night, it would be a very similar story. I got a bit of abuse from people for being negative. But it was just my stream of thought as we were watching the game. It was like
typical Newcastle stuff. I had no context. I was at work, so I'm kind of like running a meeting, and I just have my phone on the side of my desk, and I'm just trying to keep a kind of a sense of what's going on. I see we're 2-0 up. I'm like, oh, that's good. That's comfortable. And then it's 2-1. I'm thinking, in my head, I'm doing exactly what your stream of consciousness is doing. I'm like, this is going to be awful. We're going to draw this. Why can't we ever get over the line? It's just part and parcel of being a Newcastle fan.
It is.
Except this team are different.
This team don't know the meaning of stopping and being defeated, and that is a serious point. It's like I don't think I've ever known the team ever be like this. Even in the Keegan days when we were great, and the Robson days when we were really good.
Yeah,
like we always had like a soft underbelly, didn't we? It was all we always felt, certainly under Robson, but even under Keegan a bit, we still felt a bit like things could go wrong.
Yeah, and Robson had a good squad. Yeah, Robson had a good squad, but not a great squad.
Yeah,
the Keegan team were amazing, but naive, and that was that was always the sort of thing. So they could destroy anyone 6-0, but there was a naivety at times, and with Keegan as well. The way he approached things.
Yeah.
Whereas Howe leaves nothing to chance.
Howe's so thorough. Like I mean, it's early days, a year and a half or whatever, but he's already making a stake, isn't he, to become one of our greatest ever managers.
Well, regardless of what happens, he's got us to a cup final, and he's got us in pretty much at the Champions League, and that's going to be and the way he's done that. So regardless of how long he's here, and I hope it's a long time.
Yeah,
it's going to be he's going to go down, isn't he, as a bit of a legend. So,
without a doubt. I mean, the job he's done is just it's unreal. Like, and well, I mean, we'll show you some stats now. I mean, some of the stuff we're already kind of doing under Howe is just insane. So just a couple of tweets I grabbed from last night. So already, 69 points were level with 02-03 in the Robson team, surpasses the 96-97 team, which was Dalglish finished that season when we finished second, but obviously Keegan started that season. So that that was still a very good team at that point. 71 points got us fourth in 01-02. We could go past that with one more win. Like we're on track for our second best ever Premier League season. And then the tweet on the right from Simon, we've achieved our lowest number of losses in a top flight season ever in our history.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah,
it's just like that is unbelievable. And like this time a year ago, we were obviously out of relegation this time a year ago, but just over a year ago, we were literally fighting relegation.
Yeah,
the turnaround is just mind blowing. And I know there is some praise for Howe, but I don't think he's getting the full praise he deserves, because I think there's still a lot of people who are clinging to the we're owned by the Saudis and it's just money, but it's just not.
Well, it's definitely not at the moment, and there's definitely been some. I listened to a few kind of reports, podcasts, that sort of thing, and I think if you look at something like The Athletic, I think they're quite fair, and they sort of. I think it was on their Total Football when they were talking. Actually, this has not been about the money. Although they made an odd comment about we pay ridiculous wages. We don't. I mean, if you mean by ridiculous, low in comparison to other teams. Yeah. But it's not about the money. There's the kind of Guardian end of the spectrum they don't want to give us any credit because of the Saudi thing. It is totally because of the ownership. So I just you can't be bothered with it really.
It's frustrating. And I still see quite ignorant comments about how it's like like how what's he ever achieved, and it's like people pointing out He literally took a team on negative points in the 4th division, and he got them promoted all the way to the Premier League, kept them there for 5 years. Bournemouth fans love Eddie Howe, and they love him for a reason. Yes, it ended up in a relegation for him, but that doesn't diminish the job he did for the previous however many years he was there.
That's right.
The guy knows what he's doing. He's gone away. He's improved himself, and
there's not many managers I mean, not many English managers for a start, but in the top flight. But actually, there's not many managers who've managed at every level of the professional game.
Yeah, and he's literally worked his way up.
Yeah, he has
he started at the very bottom. And worked his way up.
And his first European campaign is going to be in the Champions League.
Yeah. It's crazy. Morgul says the big challenge for us as long-suffering fans, which is I think it's a mindset thing with our fans, and I'm guilty of this, is getting used to success from now on. Important to stay grounded in our journey, but what a journey it's going to be. I totally agree with that. And I feel like, as I said, we're laughing and joking about the negative WhatsApp messages and my negative tweeting last night, but literally, I think it's hard to come to terms with the fact that we are bloody brilliant. Like, we are really, really good. And I don't know if hopefully at some point I'll realise that, this team is good, like, genuinely.
They are quite remarkable. It's still that thing of, I watched them play, and I was, as much as we do any kind of analysis on this channel, but you know what I mean? But I was sort of trying to analyse the stuff, and clearly there's so much more information. I still don't understand XG and all that sort of stuff, I'll be honest with you, but all that kind of stuff is there. And I know the game's evolved and developed, but like, I'm kind of thinking, like, why did everyone in the 90s just play 4-4-2? Like, when you can play like this.
I guess it's just an evolution, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Evolution of the game.
Yeah, I mean, in the 70s, everyone just kicked the hell out of each other on bad pitches, seemingly. But there was some good football.
Yeah, I think the thing with 4-4-2 is there was definitely a period in the early 2000s where it was like, oh, how can this? They're only playing with one striker. It's not right, and it's like, and now that's kind of like the norm. It's just it was an evolution, but it wasn't everyone doing it at once. It was managers like actually Mourinho who kind of brought that thing in, made them more solid, and evolved the game in that way.
Yeah. I mean, like, so Man City last year won the league without a striker.
Yeah, an out recognised one.
Yeah, you play the false nine, all that sort of stuff. And yet it is mad because I in my head, my favourite Newcastle teams are always lined up 4-4-2.
Yeah,
and that was when we were at school, that was the formation we had to play. There wasn't a choice.
Yeah, there was no other options.
No.
4-3-3 maybe, but
well, if you had bad positional play, maybe you did. But yeah. But I think the point being, I was like, I'm looking at it, and it's like, it's so irresistible what they were doing last night. And I mean, we talked so much about how fit this team are and how much they work, but I wouldn't be surprised on Monday if they're half knackered. Because, I mean, like, the amount of running that they did and the pressing that went on last night. And I said to you, it was almost like we decided that the game was going to be played outside their box, in their half of the pitch. And if you watch the extended highlights on the club channel, I mean, like, there's 3 or 4 incidents before we score where we win the ball by basically we made them shit themselves. That was kind of, they were making mistakes. Yeah.
Forcing the errors. Yeah.
Yeah. It was really, really, it was brilliant to watch, but it was also kind of crazy. Like, I mean, because Brighton had just come off battering Arsenal.
Yeah.
Who in turn made us look stupid.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
Although we did all right. We did better against Arsenal than I think.
We did, yeah.
We don't need to go back over that. I just put this up of Miggy and Trippier. I just wanted to give a shout out to Almiron and Trippier, but Almiron last night was sensational. There was a couple of chances fell his way. He tried one of his curling efforts in the first half, which didn't come off. Went over the bar, and it's like, oh, it's a bit of a shame. And then he had that chance to make it 3-0 that he hit right at the keeper, and I think he should have scored that, in my opinion.
Yeah, he definitely
should have scored that. But the rest of his performance he was absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. He covered so much ground last night, up and down that wing, defensively. pressing, and you know, he was just a nightmare for Brighton. Like he just his energy, and with Trippier behind him on the right, the pair of them together were just it was just sensational.
It really was, and there were just moments where he seemed to be everywhere, and he's much maligned, isn't he? Still,
and that's why I wanted to highlight him really, because I'm guilty of it as well. I'm guilty. I'd be a liar if I sat here saying I'd never criticised him or thought he wasn't good enough at times, and I still have those question marks long term whether he is. But I think he'll probably be part of our squad for quite a while, and when he puts in the effort and stuff like last night, you cannot argue that he's an asset to the team.
Yeah, he's like he is maturing, and I think he's got the energy of like I don't know, like a sheepdog, hasn't he? He's just everywhere quickly. Yeah, but he has improved. There's no doubt that Howe has made him better. It was great to see him back in because he only lost his place because he got injured. Yeah, and then another miracle that Murphy kept him out of the team because Murphy was playing brilliantly.
That's it. People stepping up, yeah.
And you've got to admire him. And they were talking about. I mean, someone just said the assist in the comments. There's a little beep said that assist. Yeah. What an assist!
Yeah,
and it's not even the best assist this in the last 2 months. But in normal seasons, you'd be like, what a pass, because the timing of Wilson with that run,
it was meant,
and the way Miggy breaks and then passes it to him is just amazing.
It was so clever. That Wilson as well on his goal was like, it was so clever centre forward play, because if you look, he literally holds his run by an absolute split second.
Yeah, he even ducks back a half a step, doesn't he?
Yeah. And that's what keeps him onside. Yeah. And then obviously the finish is just fantastic. But
absolutely incredible.
But the play for Trippier in the corner managed it, because I was thinking, just like, what are you messing around in the corner for? But then he got us out of the corner up to Miggy. Miggy played the ball. It was just brilliant. Like there
were moments. It's sort of just to give a shout out really to the guys on the left as well. In that, basically, you had Burn and Isak on the left.
Yeah.
And I mean. Dan Burn has been so many things this season, but there were times in last night's game where he was playing on the wing, 6'8", putting crosses in and having shots in the box, and obviously scored, which is typical. I guess the Brighton lads were thinking, typical, the one the ex-player who comes back to score.
Yeah, it's typical, isn't it?
It is very typical, but there's a sweetness to it, and but he was up and down the wing in a way that he's not normally able to, and. Willett doesn't always like to let him go when he's playing out wide.
That's right. Yeah. I think the whole team, was great last night. Like, really, I mean, like I said, there was that period where we were nervous, but I do genuinely believe that it's just when you're watching it live in the moment. If a team has a lot of possession, and Brighton had 66% possession to our 34%, which just shows how amazing we played last night, because what we did with our 34% was incredible. We had like triple the amount of shots.
Yeah.
We scored 4 goals. Like we were so much more effective in possession than Brighton were. Yeah. But when the team has lots of possession, it makes you nervous. Even though actually, when you look at back in the cold light of day, we had them pretty much kept where we wanted them, even though they scored 1 goal. Yeah. They didn't really threaten us all that much once it went to 2-1, but it felt like it was inevitable, like they were going to score. It was weird. It was such a weird game, and the relief, like we've talked about, the relief when that 3rd goal went in was just massive.
Yeah, it was, and that was reflected in the noise and the celebrations, really, wasn't it? But I just think it was one of those nights where everyone just did their job, and it looked good, and they looked, very. It's the kind of unity and the way that they are united as a team.
Sorry. Through them.
Yeah. Put your slides up. So no, brilliant. And, I think what made it a bit sweeter was like, when Liverpool had won on Monday night and they played Leicester and stuff, and a lot of the kind of pundits were like, they're coming for you. Here they come, Liverpool. The pressure's on, and we just go out and we do that.
And that's what's brilliant about this team. Like, they have never folded all season. They've never folded. Something really, really interesting, actually, that I'll just show you now. We have all, or maybe I have, a lot of fans have. Maybe not everyone, because I know there's some fans who've been really positive throughout the whole thing. But there's this narrative building that Liverpool are on this incredible run, like they're unstoppable, and that is, we're kind of struggling to get to the points total because we've dropped, a points at Leeds and Arsenal. The actual form table is unbelievable when you look at it. Let me get the right one. There we go. So this is the last 10 matches, and
it's not much different.
I think this is accurate. I did just grab this off Twitter quickly, so if this isn't right, I do apologise, but I think it is correct. So we're actually we've
right. We lost 2.
Yeah. So we've won 7 games of our last 10, and apparently Liverpool have 2. I thought Liverpool had won more than that, but maybe that's like a bit of a, what's the word when it's when you sort of, it's mistaken,
That Arsenal to Man City gap tells a story, doesn't it? As well.
Yeah, huge.
Yeah.
I mean, Man City just
10 out of 10, smashing it.
Yeah.
Arsenal 18 points.
So I think that's interesting because actually, like I say, you can get this feeling of, oh, this is the story. This is Liverpool are coming for us. And actually, the reality is we've pretty much matched them step by step.
What's happened is, of course, that it's when the games happen. So, like Liverpool having a game on Monday doesn't take into account that we still have a game in hand.
Yeah.
But also, there were times when they were playing extra games, and so it looked like they were reeling us in quicker. I think Man United are more nervous than we are, I would say.
They will be now, without a doubt, yeah. I think Man United will be fine because I think they've got home games. They've got one away game and, well, let's put it up. So they've got Bournemouth away, which actually I think is a fairly tricky game for Man United based on they've not been amazing away from home. But then
they were dreadful at West Ham.
Chelsea and Fulham. Yeah. They've been shocking away from home in some fixtures. So it really depends. It really depends.
If Bournemouth are on the beach now as well, doesn't it?
I don't know because they're still doing all right. But
because they're definitely safe, is what I mean. Whether they've got to go, thank God for that.
Well, we'll see. I guess, won't we? We'll see. And of course, there's the issue with not the issue, but like Liverpool have Villa tomorrow, and Villa's not going to be an easy game for them because Villa are 8th and are desperate for 3 points because they'll want to finish in that top 7.
They will.
So Villa will not be easy for Liverpool. And actually, I mean, you can't see Liverpool losing to Southampton, even if it's away. So it's just Villa's like, if Liverpool do slip up against Villa, then that obviously makes our job even easier. I say even easier. We've still got to go out and beat either Leicester or Chelsea.
We do. Yeah.
And it's not done yet. It's not done yet. We've got to remember that. But we've got to feel confident.
Yeah. I think another nighttime game at St James's Park, it's one big push, isn't it? And it's against an absolutely awful Leicester team. Who actually could be relegated.
That's right.
As well. So that there's a lot to sort of say that they'll be under a lot of pressure.
Yeah. They I agree. I think. Well, we'll see what with Leicester. I mean, like you said, they could be down without kicking a ball, depending on results. Before they play us, so we'll just see. I was just trying to find someone put about an 8 p.m. kickoff on Monday, so that should give a better atmosphere as well. So I can't find it now, but it's true. St James's Park, Leicester won't fancy coming to our place at all. And to be fair, they have looked a bit of a mess. So let's just hope that continues.
Well, they're not going to relish, a full St James's Park of everyone will have been on the drink since they finished work, and there'll be a war flags display. Exactly. It's the last home game.
Yeah, which is always good. Always the atmosphere is always just mad, and like what a party atmosphere it could be. Again, someone put. I'll take another 7-1.
Yeah. I saw that.
That would just be some sort of, that would be amazing if that happened, wouldn't it? 30 years or whatever it is. 30 years.
6-0 up at half time. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, 6-0. I would take that absolutely. And Peter as well. Evening, Peter. Actually, nice to have you here. Anyone hoping for a Peacock Kelly style drumming against Leicester? Yeah, Curl and Kelly wasn't it in the 7-1, but that team with Peacock and Kelly and Curl, and it's great. was a good day. It was a good day. We sat in the barrier in the paddock that day.
We were.
Milburn paddock.
Hot day. It was lovely.
It was amazing. Absolutely amazing. Let me just go to this because I think this is interesting from Liam. Because I heard this clip of Simon Jordan. Simon Jordan thinks it will get harder for us next season because of Chelsea and Liverpool. Thoughts on that? Well, I think certainly in the case of Liverpool, it's unlikely they'll start as slowly as they did this season. Everyone's just assuming Chelsea are going to come back. Now, have they got Pochettino? Has that been confirmed, Pochettino?
Really? I'm not 100% sure it's been official, but it seems to be
likely.
Yeah.
And I just think, so they will improve, I think, because they've still got some good players in that squad, obviously. But I just have a feeling with Chelsea that it's just maybe a deeper issues at that club now. So we'll see what happens. You can't obviously write them off. It will be tough, but I think what you've got to remember is we'll strengthen. And the challenge is, and Simon Jordan said this on TalkSport, he said, we'll now have the European campaign to factor in as well. So we'll be playing more games. We'll be playing midweek and then the weekend. And the demands on the team and the squad are undoubtedly much harder next season. So we do have to strengthen. And obviously, we're assuming we're going to get Champions League here. We've still got to go and finish the job. But assuming we do, the budget, we know that they've already drawn up 3 budgets. Eddie Howe said that. So we know that they probably will go out and spend and build a deep squad.
They'll have to, and they'll need to. The Champions League obviously brings in the big players and that sort of stuff. So you've got an advantage there. I mean, he's not wrong. I think this has been a good season. It's the make hay while the sun shines season in some ways, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Liverpool are on a great run at the moment, but because they made a mess of it at the start of the season, it's probably too little, too late. Even though they've been on a great run, I mean, I do look at it in terms of how much is Emery going to improve Villa? How much are Brighton going to carry on improving? I mean, they're very well run. I think Villa have got a good managerial appointment there. But if they're in Europe as well, they're going to be doing the same kind of, the Thursday, Sunday, which is worse. And their squads are going to be challenged. So not everyone can, win the league off it, So, yes, I hear it. But I just think there's always that expectation that the top 4 should be, the 2 Manchester teams, Liverpool and, Arsenal or Spurs, and it's not going to be the case.
I'll tell you who I'm not convinced about next season, Man United. I really think I think there's big question marks over Ten Hag, despite the fact he's won a trophy. Their points return is alarmingly similar to under Solskjaer and people like that. And it's like, but there's kind of this narrative around him that he's done this amazing job. Now, that's up to Manchester United fans to decide that. Maybe for them he has. But I do think next season, if Liverpool come stronger, I'd put them above Man United. And our challenge, I think Simon Jordan does have a point. I think our challenge absolutely is to then, we have to, if we finish the job on Monday, we do have to then repeat next season and get back in that top 4 and run a European campaign at the same time. That would be the next massive step forward for the club. But like you said, making hay while the sun shines, this season has been the opportunity to leapfrog 2 or 3 years in advance of where we thought we could be. So if we finish the job, it is just absolutely massive for Newcastle United because it gives us the opportunity, once we're in, to stay in. And that's what we have to aim for next season.
Yeah, and I mean, you want the competition, and there's a fair chance, given the Premier League being what it is, that we might finish 5th or 6th next season. I'm very worried about that. We've got to, not get ahead of ourselves. We've got to be realistic about whoever. But at the same time, I think shackles are off. There's no pressure on us. That will come. Because the more you do this, but this is still new. Next year is only the second season of this. Really, I know that we're sort of into the 3rd one, but you know what I mean by that. So I'm just going up for the ride because it once you start winning stuff or whatever, the way you become that's when fans get complacent, and we've seen it in our fan base before.
Oh yeah, I think there's a certain element. It's already creeping in. Actually,
yeah, it's always been.
There's already because a few weeks ago it was like, bottling the top 4 and all this kind of stuff. There was some, not many, but there was some. It was creeping in. Dexter makes a good point. Nice of you to join us, Dexter. I know you're up early over in Australia, so thank you for joining us. It's going to be harder next season, but we have massive momentum, and that is worth its weight in gold. And I think that's a really, really important point, because what we have is momentum, but also just massive, massive unity as a club. And that is what will help us, because whilst Spurs are still in a bit of turmoil, Man United are still not a happy. It's not all a bed of roses there. That is an advantage to us, that we are a club who are all completely together. What Eddie Howe has managed to do there, and people were mentioning in the comments earlier about how this squad is very similar still to the one that Steve Bruce had. I know it's changing slowly but surely every transfer window, but we've brought a core of amazing players, but there's still a lot of players in that squad who were written off and not good enough. What Howe has done is just incredible. And the fact that he's managed to keep this positivity going and the heads haven't dropped. And like we said, they never give up. They never give in. They don't know when they're defeated. The will to win and fight for each other is like nothing I've ever seen before in a Newcastle team.
There's been, the games we've lost or not won this season, there's not been many games where I've thought we really haven't showed up. Leeds, maybe last week, wasn't great.
But I think Leeds and Villa, the 2 games, aren't they?
Villa was really bad.
Not great performances.
Those days of kind of, like, let's say with the Bruce team, where we just, like, every week we're like, could it get any worse? Oh, look, it can. Pretty bad. Whereas, I never worry about that. Even like, so we lost to Arsenal, but we were okay. And if we'd scored early, we probably would have taken it into a different place. The 3-3 with Man City. The cup final was actually one of the more disappointing games.
Yeah.
We weren't bad, but we weren't kind of fizzing.
It was unfortunate because we were in that slight slump of form, and Man United were flying at that point. It was like literally, if we played them now, the result would be the other way around. I'm so convinced.
I agree.
Liam even points out here, Man United have been poor since the Carabao Cup final, and since then we've got good. I mean, we had the game against Man City after that, and whatever it was, we had a game where I think it was Man City the week after, wasn't it, that we lost, and then there was another game. But then after that, we've been flying. It's unfortunate we played them when we did. But that's football. That's the way it goes. We had Bruno who had been out and then came back, and it's just what it is. There's
no keeper.
Nothing we can do about it. So I'm just going to put this up just because we were chatting a few minutes ago about 4-4-2.
It's Ketspire.
Ketspire. I wonder if it's the real Tamiri Ketspire. Good evening if it is. Just play 4-4-2. Just play 4-4-2 in the middle. It will be interesting because this is. Let's talk about the Leicester game actually, because as we know, we do have some injury question marks, and obviously Joe Willock in particular his season's over. I think. I don't think it's been confirmed, but I mean, literally couldn't walk off the pitch, and as soon as he did his hamstring, he signalled to be substituted immediately, and he could barely walk, and he left the ground on crutches.
Howe suggested it in his thing this morning.
Yeah, so we don't have Willock. Longstaff's still unlikely, I think. I don't think it doesn't look like he's going to be back on Monday, although it's maybe not beyond the realms of possibility, but who knows what the actual situation is with Longstaff. So that leaves a question mark over what we do. Joe Linton also picked up a knock, but I think he'll probably be all right.
No, he's a machine. He's fine. Yeah. I mean, did you hear Howe's press conference?
I didn't actually know. I've not heard.
He basically, I mean, you never know if he's telling the full truth, but he basically said it looks like Willock's out for the season, which is obviously, thankfully, only 2 games. And he said Joe Linton normally he'd run through a brick wall for you, but it looks like basically the wall got him today, kind of thing. So I think he's just a bit battered and bruised, but I don't get the impression he'll be,
I think they'll put, if he's fit enough to play through the pain, I think they will. And I think this is quite a good question, because I was thinking about this earlier, Liam. If we beat Leicester, would you play a weekend team against Chelsea? I think so. because I think if we qualify on Monday, the Chelsea game becomes nothing more than a game we have to turn up and play. And people like Bruno, who probably need a rest, can have a rest. And I know Eddie Howe will want to win the game because that's just what he is.
I don't think they will. I don't think Eddie Howe will do that. He'll want to win every game because it's all about form for him.
Yeah. It depends if he wants to get third as well. I suppose that could be
well, the other thing is, who's he going to play? If we've got because we are struggling and we're a bit short, who's he going to play? I mean, you might get Anderson in, I suppose.
Anderson could play. The other option that I saw,
Dubravka,
possibly Share coming into midfield, possibly. But then that would mean switching around a defence that Eddie Howe has been very settled on all season. So I can't imagine he'd be that keen to do that.
I don't know. If you thought there was an opportunity to make Chelsea look a bit stupid at home on their last game of the season, you'd want to do it?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
I think you'll go. Because, I mean, like, Wilson's not going to win the Golden Boot, but he's going to want to maybe get 20 goals.
Yeah, absolutely. He's on 18, isn't he?
Yeah.
So yeah. We'll see. Blakey reckons throw the kids in against Chelsea if we beat Leicester. I can never guess anything Eddie Howe does. So every time I say, like, I was convinced he wouldn't start Isak and Wilson last night. What do I know? Like, none of us know what Eddie Howe is going to do.
I don't think, because it's to what end? Yes, it's a nothing game, but it's not like we have to save anything up for a cup final or an early European qualifying campaign, is it?
We've got a summer off, yeah.
It is just another game. So there might be some changes, but I doubt it. I think he'll want to win it.
Yeah, I think you're probably right because Eddie Howe just wants to win every game he plays. Yeah. So it's fair. Morgul, Gordon could play in a midfield three. I've seen that suggested as well. So we'll put someone out. We'll have a team, obviously, but we are scraping the barrel a little bit, aren't we? But look, the job's nearly done. If we can get the 3 points on Monday night, then it'll be the fact we didn't replace Shelvey will have not come back to bite us, and so therefore it'll be vindicated and justified.
Yeah. Who do we think's fit then? Who's left?
Well, Bruno will be fit enough.
Yeah.
Joe Linton, hopefully. So then it's who. If Longstaff's not back, it's like who do you put in that trio? So I guess Gordon's an option. Share, I've heard, is a possible option.
Anderson came on,
but then Anderson. I think Anderson's the most likely.
Yeah, I think I'd agree in that for a three, particularly at home, because he's a strong lad, Anderson. I don't think he'll want to break up the back four. Not because obviously Lascelles is out as well, so there's no one necessarily, unless you bring Byrne in the centre half, I suppose. And we do have Hendrick and Hayden on the books, yes, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, bring them back.
Throw them in there. So another one saying, Eddie will put the strongest lineup possible. I think
I agree.
Thinking about it, it's probably right because he will just want to win. Tamiri gets back. Thought Dan Burn had his best ever game for us last night. I think the team were really good last night, actually. Despite the nerves during the match, like I've talked about. I know new people are coming on all the time, but I had and I wasn't alone. I know that the tension was so huge because so much was riding on it. So that when it got to 2-1, it was just such a nervy affair. It was just that I was just relieved when that third goal went in. Anyway, so loads of positive things going on. We can't complain really. Lots of comments coming in as well. Joel, I agree. He'll not mix the defence up. I agree with that. I don't think Eddie Howe has got any intention of messing up with the back five he's played pretty much all season.
Yeah,
he's just not going to do it unless he's completely has to. So I do agree with that.
Yeah.
Almon will be a sprint fast as hell.
Yeah, we've got to. I mean, I think there's a few players in our team who are pretty quick. I mean, the way Wilson shifted for that goal as well.
Yeah,
and Isak obviously is pretty quick.
Very. Yeah, we've got some pace and strength and height in the team, which was something we lacked for a lot of years. Let's just have a quick talk about our assistant manager So, obviously, there was a lot going around last week, wasn't there, before the Leeds match? There was a Twitter account popped up, which was basically hating on Jason Tindall for always wanting to be the centre of attention. And, it has pictures of him like shaking hands with opposition managers before Eddie Howe and things like that. There's really nothing in it. But what I love is that the club picked up on it, and Eddie Howe talked about it in his press conference last week and was making a joke about it. And then when we beat Brighton last night, they put Tindall front and centre of the team photo. I just think brilliant trolling by the club.
We've been excellent shit houses all season, and I think that actually is just the club getting in on it.
Absolutely great. I love that.
I think in all seriousness as well, it genuinely shows how misunderstood Eddie Howe is.
Yeah.
That's why Tindall's there.
Yeah.
As much as I think he is the energy behind it. Eddie Howe is kind of the focus and the brains and the
absolutely.
But yeah, he's the mad lad, isn't he? He's Mad Dog, isn't he? That's what he even called him that. He referred to him as Mad Dog.
Yeah, Mad Dog, yeah. I love it. I love it. I love all these little things in our like team and club. It connects the fans to the club, doesn't it? All this stuff. And I feel like there's no other club quite like us, and I really love that. I love that. It's just great. It's just absolutely great. And Dexter says, look where Howe is right at the back. He's always at the back, and that's what you were saying. Like, people misunderstand Howe. He doesn't want to be the center of attention. He every single one of those team photographs. If you look, Eddie Howe is at the back, every single one, and that's fine. And it doesn't matter.
Yeah, Tindall's there to get in the fourth official's ear, to make a noise, pass on coaching instructions, but they're always there together, and it's great. I love it.
Morgul's going to buy the blue away shirt with Mad Dog on the back.
Mad Dog on it, yeah.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Excellent.
So, yeah, it's just funny. The stories of the season and stuff is just absolutely brilliant. Few people asking about transfers. Who would you buy? Third time. If you've ever watched my channel before, you will know that I don't really do transfer talk. I just, for a few reasons. One,
you don't understand football outside of Newcastle.
I genuinely don't. I don't really watch much European football or anything like that. A lot of the play. I think we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, didn't we?
We did.
And to be honest, I've not even thought about transfers at the moment. I've just been thinking about the games that I've been playing and kind of focusing on the season. And it's just, so I don't really talk about transfers all that much because, to be honest, I don't know enough about a lot of the players. I don't pretend. I feel like a lot of people out there just pretend that they know lots.
Yeah,
and I don't, and I'll admit that, and I'll hold my hands up.
This is a lowbrow channel.
Yeah, this is just we just love Newcastle, and whoever we bring in, we'll support.
That's right.
I have actually got a plan to do a transfer video actually in the summer with someone else who knows what they're talking about. So that might happen.
Well, it ain't me or Dad, is it? So
it's not you. It's not you or Dad. No. Unfortunately not. It's just the way I am. I just don't have that. I don't have opinions about lots of random European footballers.
I think we are fairly typical of your average club fan.
I just try to be honest, and I try to just be. I don't want to sit here and pretend I'm some expert, because I'm not. I'm just like every single person in the comments here. Yeah. I'm just a Newcastle supporter, and
the only player that we keep getting linked to is James Maddison.
Yeah,
who'll be playing on Monday night.
Yeah,
for Leicester, and I don't know that much. He gets in the England squad periodically, doesn't he?
Yeah.
That's about it.
To be fair, Maddison is a decent player, because he's in the Premier League. I do see him a little bit, so I could see why we'd be linked with him.
Yeah.
But if we don't buy Maddison, I wouldn't actually be that disappointed. I think he would improve our squad in terms of depth, and probably could play as a first teamer.
Yeah,
I think he's got that about him. But if we don't buy him, I won't be upset. I'll just trust whoever the club buy.
There's a lot of these sort of supposed fan channels which I always think is quite amusing, like breaking news: we're in for Declan Rice, Like, are we? I don't think.
That's the other thing, Andrew.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is, you see rumours about players here.
Yeah.
Nothing has been leaked from Newcastle United since this new ownership came in and that Eddie Howe's come in. No one linked us with. I mean, okay, we were linked with Bruno towards the time we actually signed him, but literally no one's linked us with a lot of the people we've bought, and it's kind of that's the way we wanted it.
It tends to come out around the transfer windows, doesn't it? So, like, clearly, like the Athletic lads knew we were after Botman. So that, but yeah. I think that's because the club do talk to those guys about that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
but we're not signing them. And it's one of the other things that I think, again, it was a George Culkin article. Like we okay, let's say we try and buy Declan Rice. We're not going to pay his wages that he's on at West Ham. He's on double what we're paying some of our highest paid players.
Yeah, and I think all the evidence that we've seen from the club is that they're not just going to throw money at stuff. They're not going to break wage barriers and stuff. They will over time, but it's going to be more considered. That's we might need that Champions League revenue and sponsorship revenue that we haven't quite got yet, and then things will start to increase more. But we'll still, I think they'll just keep scouting Europe for stars that are young, up and coming.
That's right.
And I saw a Man City fan talking about basically defending Man City because they were saying people are just saying, oh, a lot of Man United fans are getting worried that they're going to win the treble, basically. And a lot of the argument is, well, you've just thrown a load of money at it. But what the Man City fan was saying was, we've signed this player, this player, this player, and this player for 12 million, 22 million. They were in this team's reserve team. These players were available to any club that wanted them. Yeah. But the difference is Man City know what they're doing and they have the staff in place to scout properly, to identify their targets and then get their targets. And that is exactly what Newcastle are doing.
Yeah.
And that's what's exciting.
And that Man City team are a long way down the line and they are incredible. You watched them the other night, they were incredible. But you're right. I mean, I think you'd heard of Grealish because he was an English player.
Well, yeah.
And everyone knew Haaland was coming in, But yeah. No, the wage structure will grow, and it will be steady. Exactly that point. They're not going to just bring in someone on 300 grand a week or whatever, just because. I mean, they might, but they'll have to give everyone else a pay rise. That's the thing, isn't it? So
yeah, and that's the next step. Actually, is as the club get more successful, people will want new contracts. Already, Bruno's in negotiations for a new contract, isn't he? So that's going to be more money, But he's coming
in whatever he wants. Would be my advice.
Give him what he wants, yeah. What we can talk about, I suppose, quickly is where we need to strengthen the squad. So, although I can't necessarily talk about loads of targets, we can talk about where the squad needs more depth. So, clearly, there's a need at left back. Although Dan Burn has done.
Hang on. There's Matt Targett.
Yeah.
Not played much.
Not played much. I'm not sure. I don't know whether Howe rates him enough, or I know he was injured, and Burn has done a pretty good job overall this season. I know he's had his moments of where you think, oh my God, can we get a proper left back in? But I still think that's a position where we need an out and out quality left back, and a left-sided version of Trippier type.
It's really weird that we've got. I think there was a point the other night. Was it the Leeds game? We had. Was it like 2 left backs on the bench?
3. We had 3.
Yeah. And ironically, it is it's still one of the weakest, but it's the squad. So, I would say that. I agree.
I think we need another striker.
Yep.
I think we need a central, a holding midfielder is absolutely top of the list.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we tend to forget is that Bruno is sort of playing out of position. He's doing the defensive midfield role. That he's playing a lot deeper than we'd like him to. And remember, like we were reminded last night, Bruno can score goals. Actually,
so
he can play further up the pitch.
It's chuffed for him.
Yeah,
really pleased for him.
So it depends. I mean, Dad was. We chatted about this last time. Dad was sort of saying he doesn't think many people will leave as we think because we'll need the squad. Yeah. But it's Excellent.
That just made me laugh, Berkey. The guy we couldn't get under Bruce. We couldn't even get him on loan. That's brilliant. Thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Yeah, well, there'll be none of that, will there? But they'll have definitely been doing some scouting. There's definitely some structure in place, and I can see 4 or 5 probably proper decent players coming into that squad.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, like you're saying with what Dad was saying. Most of the players we will need. Obviously, there's a list that we know there'll be players who go. Obviously, some of those ones that have been at the club for quite a few years haven't played much this season, and it will just be that refreshing of the squad. I think a lot of the players who've played first team football regularly this season and been on the bench a lot, they're not going anywhere. So I'd be surprised if we might lose Maxi or someone like that.
Yeah,
but I think there might be one big name go.
Lascelles, maybe.
Yeah, so Lascelles could possibly go. Obviously, Richie will go. I can't think of Lewis and stuff will go. Who's just not playing. Manquillo will probably go. That sort of thing. So there's a lot of players who will get off the books, but they're not going to affect. I don't think the players who will leave will really affect what we've got. It will literally be a case of strengthening the squad.
Yeah.
And if you can replace all of those bit part players or even players who haven't played, with someone better, then you're in a stronger position.
Yeah. Might be a keeper swap as well, because Pope isn't going anywhere.
Well, there's talk as well, isn't there, about possibly, like, because of the rules around homegrown players and European squads and things like that, we might need to bring like Fraser Foster back or Krull or something, just because we've got so few players that we have trained as homegrown. So not that they'd be second, but they might be third choice.
Would Fraser Foster still count, even though he's played for like 3 clubs since he left?
Yeah, because I think it's about players who you have trained as a youngster.
Oh, right.
So there's this rule about
Spurs, isn't he, at the moment?
Yeah, that's right. There we go. Kraft's another one. Yeah, Manquillo, Lascelles, Dummett. I think Dummett will stay actually because he's just signed a new contract, and I think again he's another one of those ones that fits we trained him, and we just don't have that many options for that. So I don't think Dummett will go anywhere. Lewis will go. Target possibly, but
does Lascelles count as a homegrown player? I know he's not, but he's been with us because he was quite young.
He wasn't in our academy.
Ah, right. So
they've got to have been through our academy, and our academy is shocking, and that's why we don't have loads of players to call on. So we might have to try and buy one of these goalkeepers. So,
I love the idea of Krull coming back to sit on the bench.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but his missus is from the northeast, isn't it?
Yeah,
we'd probably be happy for that. But yeah, Foster makes sense. But obviously, you've got to try and get that deal to happen. So, we'll see. There's going to be a lot of movement in this summer transfer window, especially, like I say, if we do get this Champions League, which is looking pretty likely now.
Loving all these comments from Ket's buyer. Who's like, he seems to be an agent. He seems to know all the players. Yeah. Do you know something we don't? Yeah. All good.
So there's Lascelles is English, so he should count. I thought it was about not just you've got to have so many English people, but you've also got to have so many who've come through your academy. I thought there was kind of 2 strands to that. I might be wrong, but I thought that's what it was. Okay, so if they were 23 or younger when we bought them, the class is homegrown.
Yeah, that's what I was saying about Lascelles.
Lascelles would have been then. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah. I'm not. Again, we haven't played European football much, so I'm not fully up to scratch on these rules yet. But we'll see. So there are players who we can have in the squad, but it's just a case of ticking a box so that you can have a slightly, so you're not breaking rules. And I think if you don't have enough, you sort of, your squad is smaller, if that makes sense. So let's talk about Target. Sort of, I wonder if Target would go, because obviously I'm not sure Howe rates him, and if we bring in a proper quality left back, you probably have Dan Burn as his backup because Howe trusts him. So maybe that's the sort of thing. I don't know what you think to that.
I mean, it's hard to say because Matt Targett did a really, really lovely job for us when he came in last season.
Last season, yeah.
And then he got injured. It's really hard to say, isn't it? And I just think Howe doesn't want to break up that back five. That's been. So I'm not sure it's necessarily about Targett. I think it's more about Burn.
I think next season Howe will change it. I
agree.
I think this season he's clearly trusts the back five and he doesn't want to change it, and that's completely fine. You can't argue with that based on what we've done this season. I
mean, Dan Burn might start next season as our left back, but I don't think he'll end it that way, I have to say. Yeah, there you go. He was a class.
It's fair, James. It is fair. I agree with that. Last season he was really good, and I think it's just the whole thing about what we were saying earlier. If we were saying like when Almiron got injured, obviously he'd had a great season. He got injured, and then Murphy came in, but then Murphy just played so well that Almiron lost his place, and it's kind of similar with Targett. Like
there are very few glamorous left backs. Do you know what I mean? Right, Roberto Carlos maybe, but that's John Beresford. And that's about it, really. Isn't it? I mean, like it's not an amazing position. There are some good ones, obviously, but ultimately they're not players of renown. They're left backs. If you get the odd one who can take a free kick, I guess is the one, isn't it? But you just want them to be able to do a right job, but they're never going to be in your class kind of group of players necessarily.
Yeah.
If you sign a mint one, great. But it's a left back. Who cares?
Yeah. Also, I think once we sign a quality left back, no one's going to care about Targett.
Right.
That's the truth.
Poor Targett.
Smash Pumpkin says, just to add to the, I like him. I don't want to.
No, he's gone now. Look.
To be homegrown at the club, of which you need 4 out of a 25-man squad, the player has to train for 3 years at the club before 21 years old.
Okay.
So, in my opinion, I don't think that Lascelles wouldn't count in that case. So, like I say, I think there's a bit of research to do, isn't there?
There is. If only the person running the channel did that.
Well, I try and research some stuff. I can't do everything. Right, let's look ahead to the Leicester match then. So obviously, very exciting. Going to be an amazing atmosphere. We've talked a bit about who might line up in midfield. So that's obviously tricky with potential injuries and stuff like that. But how are you feeling about it in your bones? How do you feel about it?
I think we'll win 5-0.
Okay.
No, I think we'll thrash them.
We'll batter them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I was on the fence at the Arsenal one because I thought we'd lose. I didn't want to say it, but I was right. But I just think the circumstances here might be too much for Leicester.
Yeah. I just think the fact it's our last home game, if we win, we get the Champions League. The crowd and the players are going to be absolutely up for it. Leicester have been shocking.
Yeah.
It points to everything being good for us.
Be 1-1.
I don't know if it'd be 5-0, but
I mean, put a tenner on it.
6-0, let's be honest. We've had some big wins this season. Look, this is a team who are anti-football and dark arts masters and all that kind of stuff. Look at these. Newcastle have scored 4 or more goals in 8 Premier League games this season.
Do you know what I would take? A clean sheet.
Oh, yeah. Look at all those big wins, right? Apart from the Villa game,
get a 1.
You can't see the goal every game.
Right?
It would be nice to have a clean sheet because we've not had one in 9 games now. And we don't have the best defensive record now either. Man City now have that.
That's not a surprise.
A bit frustrating. Yeah, but we were quite clear of Man City for a while, and then we just conceded 1 or 2 goals for lots of games, and now it's gone. Anyway, but look at that. Like we've had some amazing games this season. Like we've just look at those results there. That's 8 games where we scored at least 4 goals. That's insane. And that's as many as they managed to do in their previous 10 top flight campaigns combined.
Half of them away from home as well.
Yeah. Just brilliant.
Yeah, I think we'll beat them 5-0.
And I think there could be a 9th on Monday, hopefully.
I agree.
Yeah.
Does big count more than 3 goals? Is that what we mean?
Pardon?
does big mean we scored more than 3?
Yeah,
Four
well,
plus
according to this,
goals.
I mean, there are obviously there's a couple of games where we've scored 3 as well. Man City and
Man City.
there was another one. Can't remember what it was now, but there's another game where we scored 3. I wonder, Dexter, how many people are going to have 7-1 against Leicester as the result, because there's a bit, obviously, if you're not aware, I'm sure most people on this stream are, but obviously in 1993 when we got promoted, we were 6-0 up at half-time to Leicester, and we beat them 7-1, and we had hat-tricks from Andy Cole and David Kelly. It was awesome. Connor says, we will concede one, that's standard practice.
No, we are due a clean sheet.
If we don't get a clean sheet against Leicester, we'll never get another one. James, if we get to 2-0, they'll capitulate. And I think that is, I agree, I think it's that kind of game. I think the longer it goes on, if we don't score, the tighter it'll get. But if we can just break them down, I think there's didn't look like a lot of fight in them. It didn't look like a lot of fight left in them to me when they played Liverpool last week and they conceded a couple of goals. So we will see. I don't know. Yeah. So yeah, I don't tend to like doing score predictions, to be honest, but I do think we'll win. I don't think there's anything stopping us winning.
If we go after them the way we went after Brighton last night, it's like it still took us 20 odd minutes to score, but we will just go at them. And we might be missing a few players, but I just think one last push from everyone else. They've got to be up for it. They want to get this Champions League place sorted early. No, I mean, that's not the Newcastle way, of course. It'll be tense. Leicester will probably take the lead. But
oh my God, that'd be so Newcastle. So Newcastle.
They'll score early, and we won't equalise until the 85th minute or something. But no, I just think if we get at them like we played the other night, and I know every game's different.
We're pretty formidable when we get in our stride. We are quite a scary team to defend against, and those big wins like. 8 games where we scored 4 goals. I'll
tell you who will score for them. It's Perez.
Is he still there? Didn't he leave?
Did he leave? Has he gone?
Didn't he go in January? I think he went.
Oh, maybe he did. Oh, well, maybe there you go then. Shows that I'm watching.
Yeah. Connor says start Maxi.
You can see Maxi getting on.
Yeah,
Mongols going 10-0.
Why not? Do you know what I've been saying for years? Well, the last 3 seasons, I've said someone's going to score 10 goals. At some point, someone is going to break the 9 barrier and score 10. Why not us?
Maybe it's an unwritten rule in professional football.
I think there is. I think there's some unwritten rule between professionals that you can't score more than 9. Yeah, he's gone to Betis. I thought he'd left.
Oh, he has left. Okay, I'm glad actually because I like Perez.
Yeah, well, he's an honest player, wasn't he, for us? And he's the scorer of our last hat-trick.
Was it one against Leicester?
Southampton.
Oh, Southampton, that's right. Yeah. It was lovely.
We haven't had a hat-trick since then, unbelievably. Yeah. I'd love a Wilson hat-trick. I feel like he deserves one.
He's due one, certainly. He's scored 2 goals in a lot of games, hasn't he?
He has.
There you
go. Absolutely has. Let us know quickly your predictions in the comments if you've not already done so. Just a couple of things. Dexter watched the game back. This is kind of what I was saying, was when you watch it live and Brighton have 66%, can't even speak, 66% possession, it feels like, oh my God, they've got loads of the ball, they're going to score. But actually, like when you look at it in the cold light of day, Brighton really didn't threaten us that much. They didn't create much at all. But when you're watching live, you don't know what's going to happen. But when you watch it back, we were pretty comfortable. Even when it was 2-1, it just felt different because of what was riding on it.
I agree.
Here we go. Newcastle 3, Leicester 1, says Liam. Anthony reckons 2-0. Connor reckons another 4-1, which seems to be our favourite result this season. We've had 4 4-1s. Which is such a weird scoreline to have lots of. But it would be lovely to keep a clean sheet.
We've got to go for it.
Yeah. Alan says we'll be done on Monday if Villa fail tomorrow. I'm convinced. No worries. Yeah. So Villa obviously could help us tomorrow. Let's put that question to you actually, because I saw this earlier. So would you rather the game it was settled before we kick a ball on Monday and we're in the Champions League, or do you want the performance and everything and for us to actually go out and beat Leicester to claim the top 4?
I don't care. There's merits in both, isn't there? Because if I'll be delighted if Villa win. Don't get, because I love to see Liverpool cock it up as well. But so that will make Monday easier. But then you may be hoping that will that then make them not play as well? Will we only win 2-0 instead of 5?
Yeah,
we're going to win. I don't know. I wouldn't want to ever be reliant on another club. This is in our hands.
Yeah,
we can do it, and I'd like to earn it. But either way, I don't care, because as long as we get to the Champions League,
exactly. If Villa do us a favour, fair play. We'll take it, obviously, and it'll be mint, and it'll be a massive party on Monday, regardless.
Exactly.
But part of me thinks. Part of me thinks Liverpool will just win anyway. So
I think it'll
come down to us just taking care of our own business, which is what we've done all season. We haven't had to rely on anyone all season, and probably won't have to start now, because I think Liverpool will just sneak it, because they just seem to do that, especially.
What we don't want to be doing is taking it to the last day.
Absolutely, yeah. We definitely don't want to be going to Chelsea even with the weird season Chelsea have had. We don't want to be going there having to get a result. We've got to do it on Monday. And Paul says he wants to smash Leicester. That's what we need to do.
Yeah,
we need to do that.
Here.
I agree with that. We did. So Villa might. Well, not that it matters. They're all professionals, aren't they? They all want to win. So anyway, we'll see. So imagine winning your last 9 and still missing out on the top 4. Yeah, weird season for Liverpool.
Yeah, but they were dreadful early on.
Really quite strong at the end. But anyway, whatever. Anyway, it's all exciting.
It's good. It's nice to be able to talk about this stuff, isn't it?
It's great. I mean, this is what we wanted for years and years and years. We've wanted this. We've wanted to be good. We've wanted to be relevant, and we are. And we're winding people up because people can't stand us being up there. It's quite funny. There's a lot of Liverpool fans on Twitter having a bit of a meltdown today, because I think they genuinely thought they were going to be able to catch us. And I think because Brighton didn't do them a favour, I feel like they've kind of, they don't believe they can now. So we'll see.
That's right.
Anyway, right. I'm just going to leave you with a very short clip of our assistant manager. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And hope you enjoyed the stream. We'll be back soon with more videos and streams. And my dad will be back next week, hopefully. And I'll see you then. I'm going to leave you with Jason Tindall.
Hey, you with the sad face, come up to my place and live it up.